Check, check. Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Everybody's doing good. Give it a few more minutes, see how many people we get. If it's a low class or if people are interested. So we shall see. Omar, good to see you. Rena, good to see you as usual. Love to see you guys in here. Ten people. Well, guess that's that, but give it a couple minutes. Is everybody have a good day, or is this chop? Well, I wouldn't call it chop. Is this range? Is this killing people? Because I think it is. I have a feeling it is. I knew. Good to see you, John. Tough day. Yep. I was busy some work stuff. I took one trade. Stopped out. Didn't stick to my plan. Emotions got me. It's an easy trade. Well, easy as in what to do, but I just did not do it. But that happens, man. Got the best of me today as well, which I kind of want to piggyback on. I know it's a trading lecture focused thing, but I just want to start out with a little bit of psychology, a little bit of motivation for you guys. I don't know. This year has been tough for some people for whatever reason, whether they're new traders, whatever it is. Got some DMs a little bit last month, month before, got one today. Obviously not going to name names, but people are like losing a lot. So I just want to spend a couple minutes maybe on some psychology and motivation for you guys. Don't really have it scripted, don't really have any notes, just me kind of off the cuff. But basically, trading is a long-term game, you guys, and you're not going to win every trade. And I know it seems obvious. It's like, well, duh, but it's like, I think too many of you guys are, reading stuff on Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, TikTok, buy this, do this, short that. And it's like you kind of just follow the hype with no plan. And I think that's where most of the losses come. You guys dive into stuff, you have nothing charted out, you have no entries, no exits, you don't care about position size because Twitter said it's going to go or whatever. So I guess if you guys can just focus, you know, on position sizing, building a plan, sending somebody your trade plan. If you send someone your trade plan, that will help you guys immensely day after day. I've told members in private DMs, I've told them in, private one-on-one sessions, like if you send, if you send me your SPY chart and say, hey, I'm going to enter at 525 here. I'm going to get some calls 2 days time. My cut is 524.8, and say we slice down, I'm going to message you and say, hey, did you cut? Because that holds you accountable and holds, if you're telling someone about your play, you should have confidence in it. The same with, all the analysts in here, all the green names. It's like when they send out an alert, the last thing they want is 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people DMing them. Dude, we're down 20, 30% already. What's going on? It's like they have done their due diligence. They've charted out whatever it is. They've looked at maybe some flow, the risk reward, and they have a plan. And so I encourage all you guys, I know this is off tangent. We'll get to the shares in a second, but I encourage all you guys to, whether it's your friend, could be a family member that trades with you, but send somebody your chart. I don't care if you say 1K, I'm going to buy SPY calls at 525. I'm only buying one. Or, hey, I got a big port. I'm buying 30. I don't care how many you buy, but just send some of your trade plan and stick with it. And that'll help you guys a lot because I don't know. This year is tough for people, whatever it is, but I'm getting, I don't get as many DMs as River probably, but I'm getting a lot. And people are just really struggling for whatever reason. And I think it's position sizing. I think it's just basically no trade plan, which will also tie into that as well today, having a trade plan. But yeah, you guys, just it's a long game. There's gonna be losses. You're gonna have red weeks, you're gonna have red days, but stick with it. So that's my spiel on that. And now I need to somehow transition into trading shares. But I just want to share that with you guys because it just seems like a lot of people are not getting it to start out this year, especially when in this range, you guys. When we're doing stuff like this. This is, I'll just kind of dive into it here. This is the SPY 15-minute chart. This is the on the daily time frame. So if we go to daily, this is where the 9 moving averages. And so when we push up and reject and we bounce at all-time highs, it's like we are in a range, you guys. You cannot hold for these breakdowns of a huge support. Like think of this support as a concrete sidewalk. This is holding, bouncing, holding, bounce. This is a huge support. You guys cannot be greedy. We're in a range where around these moving averages, you need to take what you can get. And again, that comes down to charting. But yeah, iPhone, how to get a watch list like that? What do you mean? Bullish, bearish, 5%, whatever. 30-minute, 1 hour. This is not like an auto buy, auto sell thing. This is just basically if I want to know, hey, is Netflix, is the 9 EMA? Yeah. So is the 9 EMA over or under the 21 EMA? So a lot of people use the 9, the 21 to trade. So instead of going to Netflix and going, hey, is it over or under, the 9 EMA on the 1 hour? I can look at this chart. And to me, that will tell me, yeah, we might be pushing up temporarily, but the hourly, the 9 is still under the 21, which is, on a longer time frame, maybe swings, that is a bearish signal. So bearish, bearish, bearish. Or if I want to say Apple, it's like, okay, Apple's bullish on the 1 hour, the 15, the 30, which obviously makes sense. On a 1 hour chart down here, it all lines up. That script, slight tangent, I'm going to show you because we're talking about it. That script I found on YouTube and I changed it myself to how I wanted it. And I pinned it here. It's in TOS scripts. This a couple other things. This is kind of like my trading setup. But these, the 15, the 30, and the 1 hour. You have to DM me. I'll show you how to set up. I'm going to burn up too much time. Buy and sell percent is also here if you want that or interested in that. But that's where that's at. So, okay, guys. Trading shares. If you've been to my lectures at all, I'm going to start it out like most of them. Trading shares, this will be more focused on, I want to preface this will be more focused on share flips, meaning, the joke, I'm in it for a good time, not a long time. I'm just looking for some profit, whether it comes in a day, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however I think that's going to move and how I'm going to position it. I'm not in these positions or these ideas I'm going to give you guys, or any ideas or for perspective, I guess you could say, if anybody has trade ideas as well, we're going to go over that if you guys have some. But this is all based around, I'm in it for a flip, 10, 15, 20%. Stop loss, we'll go over that, 10 to 15%, basically what it is. So I'm not in this for years and years holding. This is different from my portfolio of my blue chips, just by my dollar cost average, where big tech, QQQ, SPY type stuff, where I just dollar cost average every year, every month, and I hold for my retirement account. Again, this is going to be share flip ideas based on things we've learned in class and things we learned day in and day out on charting and stuff like that, and setups I like. There's just some ideas to get the ball rolling. And also, kind of more importantly, just some different perspective how to think about it. So I guess one thing I want to start off with, let me check my notes here really quick. Okay, I got it. So let me go back here. So when I trade share flips, flipping shares, I do it differently. I want stuff to bottom out a little bit. I want stuff to be making a rounding bottom. I want to see it touching and holding like a 200 moving average, something like that. I don't trade it. We don't get shares near all-time highs, even for a flip, because it's like you don't want to be caught back holding. And so for me, the way I flip shares is, I want to see the 20 holding. I want to see, even the 50 or the 200 daily moving average holding. And I want to find huge key levels of support, meaning multiple days, daily, weekly, stuff like that. And so as an example here, DAL, Delta Airlines. Let's go back. This is last month, I think. Yeah, this is last month. So let's take a look at this red line here. So DAL is pushing. This is a 15 and a 1 hour chart on the bottom, just for perspective here, guys. I need to change this for more days, obviously. Sorry, guys, I'm not super good at Thinkorswim. We'll get it. But hang with me here, it makes sense. All right. We're pushing last month. Delta Airlines is pushing. This red line here, I'll show you why it matters in a second, but is a huge old level. That's the biggest hint, an old level here. It's like when we trade options, we can ride this trend up to the 9 moving average daily, ride it. And we come up to this huge level here that we haven't been to in 4 years. And if I'm talking about Delta Airlines or something in general, if I talk about something that happened 4 years ago, that's a pretty good guess. We know what happened 4 years ago in March, COVID. And so my point is, you don't want to be trading shares here where, so say we buy calls here and we swing this here. So on an options contract, you get a 2.5% move up in the stock price and you're in some calls that are deep in the money, this pays huge. But for me and my perspective here on flipping shares, it's like I'm not buying shares at 52.22 to go to a huge weekly level that we haven't been to in 4 years for a 2% gain. Does that kind of make sense to everybody on how we need to kind of change our perspective when we buy shares? And the same for when I talk about stop losses. It's like if I enter shares somewhere on a huge support and I wake up down 3% on my shares, like 3%, I don't care about, you guys. Like 3% on a 1/3 or 1/4 position size is nothing. A 3% loss is nothing. Shares have, unless the company goes out of business or bankrupt, shares have no expiration. Okay, if you buy calls on this, you need to be right. If this is a weekly and it's Wednesday, you need to be right really, really soon to get this profit target. Okay, and so you got to kind of change your mindset here. So I'm gonna go back to the daily. We're talking about Delta Airlines here. Again, remember that red line. Let's go to the weekly and why that matters. And so remember that push up I was talking about here. So that is, again, it's not gonna be enough time. Just do 5 years. Okay, so this is last month. We're pushing. And where are we pushing to? The COVID dump. Okay, this is when everything sold off, S&P 30% down on however many days. So you have to tell yourself and think as a trader, if this was, let's pretend this was, this a few days ago, let's pretend this was yesterday or today even. Do you want to be buying shares where if your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues have had shares here and held through red, almost made it back green, didn't sell, held red through 4 years, where do you think they're going to sell their shares at? Like this is a relief sell, meaning, man, I've been in the red for 4 years. You're damn right I'm getting out. Like that was a long hold. I didn't average to this because I'm an idiot and I didn't hold. I didn't sell it, almost break even over here. It's like, so your buy-ins have to make sense, you guys. You cannot, everybody wants the NVIDIA hype train. It's like, can it go more? Yeah, but I'm not buying NVIDIA up here. Not a starter entry, even if it's for the long term. I'm patient. Like NVIDIA is just not going to go up forever and never take a dip. People think that it's never going to touch the 9 or the 20 MA again. And so this kind of makes sense, you guys, for, the first point of your mindset of how and why you want to trade shares. Hopefully it's not boring. But piggybacking on this, what if I say building a trade plan, you guys, someone tell me in the chat or open your mic. I kind of hit on some of it, but what is a trade plan for you? Or when you look to buy shares, I want to kind of get your brains going a little bit. Like, what is one thing you look for? What is your trade plan? When I say trade plan with shares, what is that? Somebody let me know. I'm not going to give out all the freebies. Anybody? Come on. There's a lot of people in here. Lambos, I see you. Anybody? Manu, you're in here all the time. Rena, anybody? I'm calling everybody out. What is your trade plan for shares? What do you guys like to do? Wow, nothing. All right, I'm talking. Strong company, but not sure which direction it's going in the near term. I like that. Lambo's dollar cost average, love it. Blue chip, yep. Long term, nice. Love it. Price. All right. So for me, guys, I don't want to get too much into, I'm not going to say fundamentals don't matter, because I definitely don't want to say that, because they do. But again, this focus is on flipping shares, finding value, finding key spots. And so long term, like someone said, yeah, how's Hunter? Yeah, is the company strong? Start looking at PE ratios, stuff like that. Dollar cost average, blue chips. I love it. Okay. Yes, dollar cost average. So for me, guys, everything I do, I scale in a third at a time. So let's take a look at, I have a couple of things. I'm gonna watch this down here. Let me start with one that I'm already in to make it easy. The ticker is O. It's real estate, which is getting hit, obviously interest rates type stuff here. And so let me just walk you through, I guess, my game plan on this and my plan on this. And so I've traded this a lot. I've had this charted for a long time, but so on the weekly time frame, this is the weekly, you guys. And so this is like the October low. This is the October low from 2 years ago. This is the October low last year. Obviously, this is where we're at. So we're in kind of this big pin it triangle, whatever you want to call it here. And so I knew at 53.93 that we had a very big support. And I just ruined my chart there. We had a very big support here that's held a very long time. And so I bought a 1/3 entry here. And the thing about shares, you guys, you can set a good till canceled order. So on your broker, I knew when we pushed up here, I flipped this, whatever percent. I think I was in at 52-ish. I flipped this with a few people, 7%. And so when it came down here, I set another order for 51, and you wait for that to get filled. And so a nice thing about shares is you don't have to watch it every single minute, every single day. You can say, you know what, there's a weekly support here, you know, whether there's AMD, Amazon, Apple, whatever is trading down, you can set a buy order on whatever you want. So I bought in a 1/3 position size right now here at $51 because, you know, why did I only buy 1/3 position if I know it's a strong support? Well, hasn't broken out of this, you know, this is the January 8th high this week. This is a weekly candle here. Let me go to the daily. And, you know, interest rates right now are a bitch for a lot of things. Small caps, you know, companies trying to borrow money, you know, interest rates when you're borrowing, it's very expensive. It's more expensive. Real estate, same thing. Commercial real estate, borrowing is tough. But this is my sector play for whenever the Fed start to cut rates. If they cut and it's good, this is one of my plays. And again, also IWM small caps. This is my play that I think will do well in the back half of the year. If I see profits, obviously I'm going to take it before then, but this is one of my game plans for, you know, for a move, you know, summer, fall kind of thing. And so, but another thing, you guys, so the yellow is the 200 daily moving average. Generally speaking, if you are above the 200 and the 50, I don't have the 50 on here, but that is a good bullish long-term sign. Or you can see that we finally caught up after, you know, this is last July. We finally caught up to the 200 moving average. And so to me, I want to see this curl, and this, because it moves so slow, you guys, it's a 200-day moving average. You can see how price reacts over and under it, rejections, push over, under rejections. And so I want to see this 200 curl and now act as support. And I got my 9 and my 20. And so again, even though I'm in a 1/3 size, I'm sticking to my plan. You know, if it never dips to 51 again, you know, and we ride up to here and I take those gains again, that's fine. But the point is, you don't dive into just that one support on all your shares, whether it's a flip or a long-term investment. You know, like if my investment is $1,000 on this, like I'm looking at about $300 buy-in. And then to backtrack a little bit, you know, why do I scale in, stuff like that? Because again, I already have it charted out that I know if we break that 51, I know my next support down, like that can look ugly on the chart, but my next support is 5% away. 5%. Again, 5% shares is nothing. So again, to the people that say, you know, dollar cost average or whatever, like that's how you do it. That's the bread and butter of how you can dollar cost average stuff. Does that make sense to everybody? Because I don't want to just buy in here at 51 and sell. It's like, I want to scale in on something that I don't need to be right today or tomorrow. I just want to be right in the longer term outlook. Okay. And so once I'm in a full position, to zoom out a little bit again, every trade I take, I try to have a maximum of a 10% stop loss. And it's not 10% when 10% hits. When I enter something, I know where 10% is. Okay, so let's find, obviously, if we break down from here, you know, 10%, you know, why does 10% make sense here, you guys? Like, This is the low, this October lows of last week or last year, excuse me, last year, October last year. Like if we sell under this spot here, I am wrong. And honestly, if we sell through 48, 42, I'm probably going to be out. I'm not going to wait for that 10%. But again, you hear me say in my lectures, whether it's options or shares trading, I am taking trades where it's obvious that I'm wrong. Okay, I'm not buying up here and going, oh shit, I got to hold through all this just to see if maybe we bounce this line. Like you don't want to do that. Like sure you can buy and maybe take this breakout, but you better be cutting when it breaks a key support if you're in full. Like we're breaking the 200, we're crossing back over. Like that is a bad sign, you guys. And so does that make sense to everybody? Kind of why I do that, why it makes sense. You got to kind of have the different mindset of options trading, because options trading we're kind of to be right away. Stuff like this we don't. Let me check the chat if there's anything. Omar, just been busy buying shares randomly, trying to build oh, I love that, man. Omar, what let me know in the chat what dividend stuff you got going on. This is a great one. If you don't know, this pays dividends every month, man. Every month. Dividend, payout. So there's people that stagger big money. You can stagger and get dividend payouts every single month. And if you got a huge port, this pays a lot. Let's see, look at the bounces. Nice. What's a good time frame to check back charting? Love that question. For me, if I know the chart, I trust my levels. It was an iPhone 4 that asked that. If I don't know it, so another one, I've had my eyes on this for a while, guys. OHI. It's a healthcare ETF. So again, healthcare stuff, whether it's, grants or not grants, but funding for stuff like that. It costs a lot to borrow. And so OHI, I found this, I'm going to go over it in a little bit on a nice screener that Fidelity has. I start with the weekly all the time. And I literally did this just on Sunday for you guys, just to prep this. But I chart this out on the weekly just to kind of say, like I would say, where are we on the chart? I don't need a bunch of lines. I just need to get a ballpark figure. And obviously, again, this is the COVID zone. This is the weekly chart. Lots of consolidation here. Yeah, it's not doing a lot. It's not NVIDIA. It's not shooting up. But again, this is stuff where I'm looking for value and where it makes sense. And to me, OHI, I'm not in yet watching, but the weekly, I got 3 lines here. And to me, this is a very easy, a very obvious, why did that reset? I don't know what happened to my moving averages. It's a very easy and obvious setup to watch for, if that makes sense to everybody. So again, that's another one. When rates start cutting, if and when they do, this is one I think can benefit. This is the weekly. Here's my daily. And again, same theme here, you guys. 200 caught back up. 200 is under it. Weekly support reclaimed here. And so again, obviously, big zone. You don't want to be a fool for iPhone, the one that's, you don't want to be buying here at 33. I mean, again, people from October have been red for 8 months. That's going to be probably a relief sell rejection. If you want, let's just watch this week. Maybe we pop over and maybe we keep pushing, but I expect some resistance here. And obviously it rejected perfectly today. And so again, dollar cost averaging, finding stuff that is rate friendly. I'm gonna go over a few more, but if this is boring, you guys let me know, and I'm gonna also want to go over some of your guys' stuff as well. Big tech, we all play big tech. My 2 favorites, or 2 that I think can be leaders on a dip, AMD, Amazon, and Microsoft, just the space they're in. Again, there's not much on Amazon I like here. Again, mentality of shares. Amazon 170, 50-ish. Like I want to start looking there. And another weird thing I'll kind of do is I'll draw a trend line and just kind of say, okay, where does this 200 look like? If we trend, we may not trend down here perfectly, obviously, but let's just say we have a down month. It's like, I'm looking to see where that 200 creeps up and starts becoming support. Is it that 200? Is it the 170 zone? Again, Amazon, I think there's some good buys. There's some good buying opportunities to be had. I draw stuff like this. If you guys see my charts and my areas, it's like, I'm not buying this hype on the all-time highs. I think it's probably all-time highs, but I'm looking for pockets of consolidation, stuff like this, where I want to see earnings gap up, hold, come down, hold, huge bounce. Like this tells you buyers are ready to be a buyer. We are just little fish in a big, 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 big ocean. And so you want to buy when other people are buying. Like you don't want to fight the trend. And so to me, 170 to 172, this is a big pocket of interest. Yes, there's still a gap below. But again, you want to buy key areas of interest, and so say we buy into 170. 1K told me he's a good buy in, he said. Look at, we fill that gap. You're only 5% red. That's nothing. 5% on a quarter or 1/3 entry size, that's nothing. Okay. We sell down here. We hold the 20. We're curling. Markets look like they want to push. We got a good, Fed reaction, whatever it is. Buy in there. Buy in with confidence, you guys. You don't just sell shares the instant you're red 5%. Maybe if you bought the top, you're like, oh shit, I bought this double top, like maybe, but stuff like that. It comes down to having a plan. If that makes sense to everybody. Disney is another one. I really, really want to get in Disney. Shares and options. I really like this. Look at this weekly. Again, to iPhone that asked, like, you want to get in, you want to treat buying shares, you want to find Black Friday sales, you want to find when stuff's on sale. To me, 101, like, look at that line all the way back. That's 2022, 2 years. Look at how big that 101 level is, you guys. And so when you guys are just focused on the fight, this goes for anything, even options trades. Like when you guys are focused on just the 5-minute time frame and bearish, it's like, man, I am not buying it puts at 101. I'll tell you that. And so Disney, again, sometimes on the chart, it looks like a huge move. We kind of got this little thing going. I've had this kind of, I draw them out really far just to kind of see how things play out, but we held this move. We didn't quite get the gap fill, but again, look what that 200 is doing, you guys. If we start seeing that 200 kind of do one of these, we consolidate. We come down into here. I mean, obviously we're talking that's July 1st, hypothetically, but it's like, if this starts curling, that is a buy-in for me all day, every day on shares. That is a buy-in because I know, went to the weekly again. I'm kind of beating the same drum here, but it's like, okay, you buy in, right here at 101. We gap fill. Oh, darn. We're down 1.7%. And guess what? We talk about psychological levels. Do you think there's going to be buyers at 100? You're damn right. There's going to be people buying 100 all day long. Okay. Oh yeah, shark alert. I did see his alert. Yeah, I think I'm not gonna criticize anything. I think I'm waiting tomorrow. So again, go back to the daily, you guys. I want to show you how this multi-time frame moving average works. If you guys aren't doing this already, you are losing out on Thinkorswim. So this is the 20. This green line is the 20 moving average, 20 daily, not intraday, not like an EMA, but a 20 on the daily time frame. It's the 20 moving average, and this is the 9, the purple. And when I go to the 1 hour, you can see where it's at intraday. Like this is a game changer, you guys, if you guys aren't trading this. But anyway, for me tomorrow, I need to set an alert here. Actually, I want to see closes and hold over that 103. I guess we'll call it 103.50 for me to get in. I did see Shark's alert. I think he alerted somewhere around here. Not that I was doubting him. It just didn't hit my criteria. You can see we're not breaking over 103. we're hovering over the 9 daily, and it's like this was a badass sniper entry if you got the 9 daily today entry on it. Of course, I didn't set alerts. But tomorrow, I want to see, I want to start seeing some bounces and holding this 103 level. But again, even for shares, you guys, I don't want to get too sidetracked on options, but for shares, like you can look at this now, you go, okay, we held this pocket here, this 101 to 102. Our moving averages are now curling. And now this is where you can scale into some shares here. Obviously, Disney is not a fast mover, but again, if we're talking about, even if I say a 10% down, like we got to come all the way down to 90 something. For me, obviously I'd probably cut below the 200 or 100, but it's like these are the plays where look at it and go, okay, this is less than 10%. This is an okay risk, because it's like you can't take share flip plays. You go, okay, my stop loss is 25%, but I'm going to take 5%. I'm going to take 7%. But then the next trade goes 15% red. And the next trade you take 6% green on a share flip. And the next take, you take 20% red. It's like you're never going to get ahead in your portfolio. And so these plays that you get into need to make sense. They need to be obvious when you're wrong. And to me, a buy in here, I would use less risk because of just where we're at. It doesn't fully meet my criteria, but it's like you play up to that trend line, you can flip 5-6% on some shares. And that's a pretty good move for Disney. Or we start talking gap fill here, 6 to 10%, 6 to 8%. And so, how are we doing on time? Running a little bit late. Hood is speculative, but it's one on my radar. Another one, I'm in full disclosure in this. I'm in on MP. It is ugly. This is metals and mining industry. So take that what you will with it. Again, weekly chart here. I'm in at 15. I like this weekly support here, and I like the move here for a breakout possibility. Again, yes, it's not doing anything when the market's pushing up, but stuff like this is where, again, I'm looking for a rounded bottom. I'm not an investor. I'm finding stuff like this, key areas like this. Oh, we talked about OHI, PLTR. MMA loves this one. Ooh, I had a good day today. Did not see that. I'm not in. I have a buy order. I cannot remember. 2040. I think, yeah, 2040 is my buy-in. And it went down to 2050. PLTR, again, why do I like it? Why does MMA like it? Financials. Let me jump into that too. Another thing, give me 1 second. My Fidelity logged me out, I think. Nope. Another thing you guys can do, you kind of want to mix in a little bit of financials. Why are we coming down? Why are we slowing down? Fidelity has a really good scanner tool I like to use just to kind of see what's going on. Stuff like this. So he likes PLTR. You can kind of do a scan and say, hey, what are they doing? What is the sentiment? Why is it the sentiment? I like to use just very simple stuff. The sentiment here, valuation, quality, growth, stability, financial health. Again, I'm not an investor, but I kind of want to see what the sentiment is of big money. And so stuff like NVIDIA, like we know what that's going to look like. We know, yeah, maybe it says 2 to 6 weeks. It might be a week, but it's like, we know financially it makes sense. Why did it go up? Why does it keep going? Because they keep crushing on ER, stuff like that. And so, what's some other stuff on my watch list? When you look at stuff like Hood, Shop is a little bit speculative, but I'm in Shop as well. I need to check the chart and let you guys know. But again, growth stability. So it says stability of an asset, how stable the growth of earnings and cash flow have been over time. And so there's some risk here. Okay, there's some risk. And so I know that, I could be playing some fire here on the risk, but again, you build that to your trade plan. Shop, I'm in at, it's a round number, I think 54, no, 58. I'm in Shop shares at 58. I'm in a half position size. I scaled in down here. I've seen this big drop, but again, this big level here, On Webull, I don't have much charted, but let's call it good, 58. I knew, obviously ahead of time, 58 was kind of my key level here. And again, having a trade plan with shares, options, whatever it is, I knew if it sold through that low pocket, which it almost did, that is my cut where I'm probably wrong. That's a situation where I don't have to wait for my 10% down. I mean, we'll go back to the day. I don't know what that is, but this is a situation where I know this is a strong weekly level. I know when I'm wrong and I'm risking. Oh, there's a quick way to find the percent. There's someone tell me I'm risking 3%, 2.5%. But now let's not, count the money before it arrives. But I'm up 5-ish% on hopefully a bottom tick, and we see the structure it's making. Obviously, there's a huge gap below, but you got to look. We hold entire month of May. You can't be diving into puts here. You have to say, okay, the entire month of May, buyers are buying or buyers are holding. The buyers are not winning, but neither are the bears. And so you need to find stuff like this. You need to try and find value. Obviously, shop has some risk, but again, it comes down to charting. And so you gotta have to put two together. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But for me, I'm not cheering until I want closes, which we closed over 60. And now we want to see this 9 curl, and there's probably gonna be dip buys into it, but it's like I'm personally looking for 64, 200, and I want the gap fill. Obviously, if we push up and we trend, retrend, that 200, I mean, that's you can bet that's going to be pretty much right at 68. And if people are buying there or selling there, I'm going to be selling. I'll tell you that much. Does that make sense to everybody? I know we're kind of running short on time. Does anybody have anything they want charted out? I'm going to share a couple other names I was looking at, just because they're down here if anyone can see them. But Disney, Hood, MP, O, OHI. Let me see if I can pull this over. I'll just show you, I guess, my notes. It's not a big deal. So these are the ones I'm looking at, you guys. I'm not in Disney. I'm not in Hood. I'm in MP. I'm in O. PLTR, waiting on order to fill. Rivian. Speculative. Again, Rivian would be a chart-based play. Let me look at it really quick because I need to know why I had it on there. Rivian, again, rounding bottom, like we say, rounding bottom. Not a couple days, guys. This is February 20th. We have this zone here. Again, yeah, they're not putting up big numbers, but February through we're now in June. We're holding this, people call supply and demand. We can call this demand down here if you want to. We're holding 4 months worth of information, 4 months worth of shares down here. A buyer at 10, yes, according to financials, obviously we see what's going on here. There's risk here, long-term investment says real value, growth quality, not a chance. Or quality of the company, not a chance. Growth stability, financial health. We all know what Rivian vehicles are doing, how much they're losing. So this is a technical share-based play idea, you guys. And so this is not an investment hold for me, but shares down this 10 zone, like look at that. And again, my goofy lines, it's like, okay, 1K said I'm only risking 10%. Where's 10%? About 9.5. So you can buy in at 10, and if we break, or you can, maybe a little more accurate here. You can buy in at 10, because I said, or I recommended, this is all recommendations, and you get a whole dollar move down. Like, obviously you break the structure here, you're probably gonna know you're pretty wrong pretty quick, and you don't have to hold for 10%. But now we start looking at profitability. Top range box, 16% potential. 200. These are the plays that, like, look at that move. I mean, that's a big move on it, but you buy at 10 and we just trend and you're chilling, we're going slow, we're having a nice summer run. You got a 40-50% gainer right there, you guys. So find stuff like that. Let me look at the chat. VT. Okay, let me go in orders here. Sorry, guys. Dominique, KO. What do I think the breakout? I think, man, this one pissed me off today. Pardon my French. I seen this push up. I told a few people in chat looking for a KO dip. 63.34. KO did not dippity do, and it just went. Where are we on the weekly? Sorry, guys, we're going to go long, but I need to get all these questions in for you guys. Weekly, we're at the top of the zone. Again, investment perspective. This is a big move, but say you bought tomorrow, you're buying the hype. Twitter says buy KO. You buy here. Your top range move is only about 2.5% again on shares. And so you guys see me do this all lecture long. Grab the line on one of your charts and just do this. This is literally what I do. I go, okay, where, because you may look at this move and go, I'm gonna this is a big move up, and you're like, shit, it moved up. I'm only up 2% on shares, but my stop loss is way down here. It's like, do this with the line chart. If you guys have us on your thing, it helps a lot. It's goofy, I know, but it works. But like, Dominique, was that you who asked that? Yeah. I like it, but you got to ask yourself or say to yourself, okay, let's see, this is the weekly. So let me not lose track of time here. This is 2023, 2022. So we are in a 2-year range here that has not broken over. In 2 years, we have not broken over. We'll just call it 67, just for quick numbers. And so again, you got to ask yourself, do I want to buy the fear down in this zone here, or do I want to buy up here? Yes, it can go more, and yes, it can break out, but it's like, if something hasn't broken out for 2 years, I'm not in a rush to buy something, because it's like, okay, you buy the top, we push up, you don't take your 2% gains. Now you're like, okay, now I got to figure out where dollar cost averaging. And so like, you want a dollar cost. To me, guys, I buy shares on fear. I buy shares on Black Friday, not actually Black Friday, but when there's sales in the market, when we sell down, because the market just goes up, unless it's COVID, something like that. But it's like the market goes up, you guys. I'm buying fear. I'm buying on sell. INTC, I think I had that one. Who was that? JT? I think not itch. I'm tired. INTC. Intel. We're on the weekly here. Why does nobody love Intel? Who's good with Intel? Why does nobody like it? Does it make sense? Rev's in here. Revs, what are the fundamentals on Intel? Why doesn't nobody like it? Open your mic, man. Tell me, brother. You're smart. I've been trying to get you on this lecture for a while. Why, look at this. Weekly. Let's draw some zones here. Interesting. Rev, where you at? Intel tech is garbage compared to NVIDIA. Well, okay. Is that why nobody wants it? What do we got here? Is that, what's the question mark? Earnings. Is this a weekly? I mean, man, it is coming down to, man, lows it has not seen in 2 years. So that's October 2022. Yeah, Jay, why'd you ask, brother? Open your mic or tell me in the chat. So what are you risking if you're trying to buy a dip? You're risking 12% down here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right. The reason why I asked is Intel is getting back into the foundry business, which means they're going to start making chips stateside. They already got a deal with NVIDIA to start making their chips next year.
Okay.
And they plan to be able to outpace Taiwan Semiconductor by the end of 2025. So yeah.
And you thinking maybe this is sleeper buy, sleep on, or dollar cost average in a little bit?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Are you in at all by chance? I mean, you don't have to say your average if you're not comfortable. Are you just kind of eyeing it or get perspective?
No, I've been averaging in for the past 2 months.
2 months? Okay. So you're okay. So you're somewhere down around here.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say, obviously it's ugly, but I can't talk smack because I said I was in shop and we seen what the shop chart looked like. And so I think as long as you're smart about your plan and kind of, we looked at the weekly. Let me get a line just so I can keep that perspective here. So I mean, that bottom, that's a weekly chart. Yeah. So, I mean, it could be. I'm not good with financials. Rev is really good. Obviously, Tilio's good. MMA, is he good or does he think he's good? I think MMA is good. No, he's smart. River's good. Yeah, but I mean, it's hard because I can't tell someone to just not buy it. Oh, it's a falling knife, because it could be something like, a Kathy Woodstock, but it's like, you know, obviously there's no love lately. There's no love, even recently. It's just kind of consolidating. But it's like, what if, earnings are coming up next month? What if they have a good surprise? And it's like, you're going to get paid on a good surprise on something like that with earnings or good guidance like that. And so again, for me, the only criticism I have is it doesn't check the box of, we got a 200 daily way overhead, and then we have these kind of pushing down overhead as well. And so, I don't know what your plan is for a hold, but it looks like if your dollar cost averaging in, we said you're risking, again, you got to have the mindset of there's no time limit on shares. Like, yeah, you don't want to see this going sideways for another 2 months, but it's like, to me, I can risk 10% of my money, to see if I'm right or wrong, to see if this 27 holds. And I know that might be subjective or controversial, but it's like, I'm not buying a breakout of a bull flag to look for a 2% move on the day like we do options. Like, I'm willing to sit on something, to see if this holds. And so, if, I might set an alert here and just come back to it just to see where we're at, see what we do with earnings, something like that, to keep an eye on it for you. But again, to me, it doesn't quite check the boxes. I want to see, we are basing, we're not really rounding, but we're holding a level. We're kind of in the middle of it now. And so I guess for that perspective, like I could nibble down here at 27. If they have a earnings report, maybe it's good guidance and they don't drop off a cliff, maybe they stay flat, but it's like, hey, we have some whatever on the outlook, like that's a reason to buy in. But again, as long as you're dollar cost averaging, you're not in super heavy and you have a plan. And if you see that 27 hit, you're not down a lot. But if you're buying up here in the 40s, you're like, man, I'm still holding. I've been holding for 8 months. It's like, okay, well, it's time to cut when your plan up here didn't hold or broke the 200. And then for the next 2 months, it trend down. And so again, it's all going to be subjective. Everyone's like, well, I'm only buying blue chips or only buying a breakout. It's like, well, why would you buy down here? But again, it's all about perspective for me. And, I say, I joke around people in DMs, like I'm a catfish, like they're bottom feeders. I'm trying to find value of, companies that are not total shit. I mean, obviously, Rev had a comment of Intel is garbage compared to NVIDIA. Yeah, NVIDIA's our leader. That's fine. But there's going to be little smaller guys in the game that still push. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be other names, but obviously NVIDIA is king the castle, and no one is close to stopping them right now. And so, yeah. Cisco, man, I think Rev was on that too. I think I like this one. I can't remember. What was this one doing? I had Reno was looking. Rev, did you like this one too? Let me know. Cisco, I can't remember. Was someone talking about that in the chat? Again, weekly, pretty much 42. We'll just call it 42. Again, everybody's different, but man, if I want to try and find some value on a flip, I'm kind of, yeah, weekly. I'm kind of looking here, guys. Like, again, I know it, I keep saying it, but like, yes, it's trending down, but like, look at this for perspective. Look at this move here on the weekly. Ugly, ugly, ugly fear. People bought in at 46. They wrote it, they rode a $12 move. So for perspective, this is what I'm trying to do for shares. Again, I'm not playing a little breakout on shares here and buying for a $2 move. I'm buying the fear here. This is the weekly. We go the daily. It's like, look at that bounce and buyback, you guys. Look at that curl. And so this could be something to watch. Again, our 200 it's there. It's not ready to cross. It's catching up. And we kind of sort of got one of these messy things going here. So again, this is kind of interesting here. 40, let's just say 48. We break and retest 48. Our trend is broken. Our EMAs, our moving averages, sorry, below us. You know, you're risking 4% to a next huge support. Again, let the chart tell you when to cut, guys, or take profit, not the percent. Let the chart tell you. The chart tells me if we break 46, we're probably going for more, and you're wrong on the upside. That's what the chart tells me, not because I'm 5% red. Okay. Cisco, man, I kind of like that one too, you guys. Good suggestions. I'm gonna throw a couple alerts on because I'm definitely a buyer. I'm greedy. I'm in greed mode. If you guys don't know, my plan is, and I want to dip. You know, I want this consolidation to keep happening on the market, and I want Nvidia and chips to drag the market down next week into June, you know, mid-June OPEX area. And I'm going to buy that fear. I'm going to gobble that up as long as data says not to. But so I'm setting alerts, you guys, for stuff like this, for share buy-ins, because I want to see stuff like this. If we start getting closes over the 48, this 20 is going to curl, and then it's on to that 200. People are going to start targeting that 50 again, that big rejection, that 50 there. Rev, VTV. What do you got on this one, Rev? Talk to me. What is this one? Is this an ETF? VTV? ETF? Is this an ETF? What is it though? Oh, a value ETF. Ooh, I like that. Is that what it is? Value ETF. Analyze. Is it analyze? Let's not get lost here. 1K. Come on. You know, not use thinkorswim yet. VTV value. Okay. So is your perspective kind of a rate cut thing, Rev? Let me know. Some value seekers. That might be his perspective here. That might be a good sneaky one too, you guys. It's the daily. So of course it kind of looks like our SPY and Q chart, but again, if these are companies that, you know, maybe having some troublesome rates here, this could be, yeah, that could be a good name too. It looks like it moves a lot like the S&P, a lot like Qs. Weekly, is that it? CAG. Ooh, look at that 200. Again, you know, it's ugly, but you got to look at investors. Like if you're in here to buy 3 shares, follow the wave. Do you think people are buying at 29? And I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to draw a single line at 29. And we're going to check that. Why does 29 matter? Look at that. April, push up, bounce. February, push down, longer trim down. December, push up, bounce, make a move. Weekly, I bet that. Maybe not recently. So that's 3 years, 4 years. Okay. I won't get cocky. Maybe it doesn't mean as much. What is this? This is October 23. Like that's a big bounce there, you guys, in the weekly. So buyers were ready. So find stuff like that, you guys. Again, if it's new, like the best thing, the most fun thing to do is to find a new stock and just, I go the weekly, I smack a line or I do something like this. And it's like, you know, buyers were here on CAG, CAG, 4%. You know, if you bought that dip, if you snipe that dip and we keep pushing, you have a nice 10% flip there. And again, if you were wrong, and you sold under a weekly support under 200, like you don't, again, you don't have to wait for 10%. Like that is a small risk on shares to see, are you right or not? I'm gonna send an alert for that too. You guys got some good ones. For me, don't know if you're in. I want to see, if I'm greedy, I want to see a rejection here and a curling bottom, rounding bottom, and that 200 holding, and I would be buying shares there. How's the financials on that, Rev? CAG. This isn't really financials, but what is the sentiment? Undervalued. So valuation metric combines fundamental data to assets if a company is overvalued or undervalued. Financial health. Fundamental data is debt to interest obligations. Okay, so down the middle of the road. Food production, they do pretty good. All right. Another thing, you guys, comparison. How's it do to its competitors? You know, it looks like the industrial average is, you know, I guess you can say everything is on par. Would you agree, Rev? CAG, MDLZ, GIS, HRL, I don't know what those are, but like, is that kind of your favorite? Oh, there's Campbell. Okay. So, because I know you play that one a lot. Ford. Let me make sure I don't skip anybody. Oh, viral. FDX. All right. Under some moving averages. We got a line here though. I bet you there's some buyers there. And I bet, you know, that's a low risk. Yep. So November 2022, you can see again, weekly time frame. Why the reason I go the weekly, guys, because it just shows so much sentiment. Sorry, those stupid dogs across the street. If you can hear that. It shows the sentiment, you know, of a long-term time frame. So it's like November 2022, obviously that was a bear market, but it's like we sell down under a weekly support. We see when bears take control and we push up or reject. We push up, big rejection. That was probably earnings. We push up. Okay, now we're back to it. And we see the sentiment when we're over it. So you hear people talk about when it breaks structure or pivot or stuff like that. Like, this is why you start the weekly, even on options, you guys, you know, if you're not familiar with something, starting the weekly and see what the sentiment is. It's like, you don't buy puts at 245. Yeah. I mean, it's a weekly, maybe it paid, but it's like, you want to see a breakdown and a retest to buy those puts. You don't buy puts at 245 because when we get over, we see the big moves. And so, yeah, again, it's under some moving averages, but it's like if you have try and find the chat. July calls, nice. Did you get in, or are you a little bit red, or how we sit on those? Like that's, you know, I'm not gonna say you're early because I can't predict the market, but we got the 9 coming down. We're holding, you know, we've held this, and we're coming back to where we were in March. And so again, you got to be thinking, people bought this breakout, they flipped it, they're coming down. People are starting thinking, okay, am I going to be a buyer at 245? Am I going to wait for earnings on the 25th? And so we might see some consolidation here, just chop, waiting for big money to decide, okay, is my investment worth it here at 245? That is, I mean, that's what earnings are. Is your investment worth it? You know, that's what they are. And so you may see some consolidation here around this big level because, again, it's a pivot, it's a structure level, it's a big level, whatever you want to call it. They're gonna dump this if it's bad or bad guidance, whatever, and they might push here. And that's where you want to be watching. 15 red, no worries. Nice. All right. Ford. Ooh. Ooh. What do you like on this, Rev? You like it, you're eyeing it, or got to pick a direction? Okay, nice. We got that. Do we got a lower trend? We got at least 2 lines here. I can see 2 touches. I mean, maybe that. Yep. And that's kind of, this is where I know I shared another one. What was that? Maybe it's PLTR. I can't remember. I shared that, something like this. I can't backtrack my comments, but it's like, this is kind of a little bit indecision mode. You know, if you're looking at a trend, you're saying the lower's holding, the top's rejecting. You know, if you have bias or want to have bias and you want to remove it, and just, look at what's in front of you. It's like, okay, the 200 is right there. The 9 is curling, calls off or around 12 flat. Another thing, if you guys are buying these cheapies, don't just smack them at 12 because I said, like, I'm just calling out round numbers here, because on these slower moving ones, like 10 cents, 20 cents on forward means a lot for your options contract. And so I'm just kind of throwing out levels here, talking as I go, but like buying into this zone here, is where you want to take stabs. They're not making progress up, but also you saw that big buyback when they sold under that 200. You saw that 200 reclaim, and so seeing something like that without the trend line, to remove some bias, it's like I want to see. This can be a good share flip plan or options even. It's like when we see this and we see a 9 moving average start to curl and hold, like use the moving averages for a reason. Like there's a reason we trade it intraday and daily. It's like when you see those curling, there's a reason for that. And like you can buy 12 or a 12 and a half call or even a 13 call with a lot of time, and those things are cheap. Ask Rev, ask someone else, like get a 12 price level straight across. Daily, obviously, weekly again, repeat story. Look at that, you guys. One line. I had no idea what it did to the left. One line. Look at that. Wow. How far out is this? Does this make sense, you guys? I know we're kind of running along the chat, but it's like why I try and find value where it makes sense. You can buy, again, to recap or kind of summarize, you buy the fear, because there's no time limit on shares. Like if I buy at 12 tomorrow and we sit sideways for 2 weeks, yeah, I mean, I'm sitting on dead money because it's not making me money, but it's not losing. Like options, you need to be right pretty damn quick unless you're buying leaps or several months time. And so stuff like this, the 12, like you can see when people are buying this 12 here, look at that, 29% flip. People buying the fear, buying puts at 12. It's like, no, I'm a buyer of shares at 12 for 28% move. We come down under, I know I'm wrong. Like this is a big move. The bounces are getting higher or lower, excuse me. But again, a lot of consolidation here last, what is that, 2 years? So that's prior COVID. No, that's December 22. Wow. Yeah. So, it's not making you big money. But again, from a shares point perspective, this is the stuff you want to look for. And that's even on the weekly, that little thing lines up. Nice. All right. Again, does anybody have any questions? I know we kind of went back and forth on stuff. Hopefully this wasn't too boring, but share flips are important, you guys. If you're confident in what you do, the things you trade, you can still dollar cost average or pay your financial advisor, whoever it is, to, I know Rev, he just dollar costs on, I don't know what is it, SPY or QQ, whatever it is. Like he puts in monthly and he meets or outperforms the S&P every single year. You can do that. You can partially do that, and you can flip shares on your own like I do. I keep a portion of my long-term port, just buy and hold, the regular blue chips, the AMDs, the Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. But there's a portion of stuff that I flip, every single year. When the getting's good, you guys, because there's money to be made, and it's a good feeling when you can buy something on your own and not have to, tell someone or have someone just do an auto buy for you. When you can buy stuff on your own like this, it feels good to have a trade plan, to have it work out and stuff like that, for you guys. And so hopefully that was informative for you guys. If there's no other questions, again, this is kind of some stuff I'm watching. Again, Risky, Hood, MP, Rivian, PLTR, haven't filled yet. Big Tech, I'm looking for dip buys on these. NVIDIA post split. Sorry if you guys are in shares or in calls, but I want to sell down. I don't know if it is. Don't sell, because like I said, I think it's going to go down, but if history repeats itself, post split, there's usually a dip. You can look at who split this year. Google split, or last year Google split. Someone help me. Tesla split last year. We've seen what happened to them. And so, you know, I know, so NVIDIA's at what, 1200, and it's a 10 to, oops, sorry, man, I'm tired. Where's NVIDIA? Let's say it closed at 1200 on Friday. So that'll be what, open at 120 on Monday. Is that the correct math? So, opens at 120. Hypothetically, it gets a 20% haircut, comes down to 100. I am loading shares, on an NVIDIA dip, because you buy the dip on companies that makes sense. If we keep gapping down, and stuff like space is highly, highly speculative, highly, highly risky. It's just like, you can buy, it's leveling out, but it's like, people have not been in profit for years on stuff like space. And so CRM. Omar, that's all right, man. I mean, honestly, like 1124. Sorry, man, not to call you out. Let me see what is that, brother. Wait, 1124. Oh, 1124. Okay, so well, maybe you bought the top. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it just keeps going. Maybe they don't fall post split. But my point is, I'm not to tease you. My point is, you bought in a company that is the true, monster. It's the king of the hill and stuff like that. And so, don't sell your NVIDIA. I mean, yeah, you might be down 15, 20% if they take a dip, but it's like dollar cost average in, man. As long as you're not like full porting your Roth or your 401k, whatever it is, it's like, hold it. We're going to take a dip, or if we get a summer dip, again, it's all speculative. I don't know if we're going to. We might just run all summer, all through elections, whatever. But, hold that. And you're going to be thinking yourself, I don't know how old you are, but you're going to think yourself in a few months. It's not going to take years. You'll get back in profit. CR added a call after earnings holding. You got a call and then, oh wait, this was earnings. Okay. All right. How many financials did anybody know, did they do good or they get smacked? I lost my financials tab, damn it. It's been a day, guys. CRM. Did they get cooked or what happened? Earnings. They beat. Was their guidance shit? Looks like did they beat? EPS. Interesting. What are they, man, it says it's undervalued. But why do people hate that? Who's smart? Strong revenue. They did good, 11% year over year. So what is this, guys? Is this a sleeper? Why did they sell that? That's a big haircut. Oh, how's that one that guy banked like 88K, huh? Wow. Let's check the weekly. Interesting. No coincidence where it bounced. Obviously that was earnings, but if we draw a one line chart here, you guys, like, interesting. 230. Oh, look at that. Of course. December. Oh yeah, that's COVID. Yeah, is that 2022? Yeah, that's the COVID sell. And again, sell down. You're hurting for a couple of years. Obviously, people are looking. They're taking profit there. Sell down, push up. And people go, oh, big breakout. Let's ride this train. Obviously, hypothetical. How big of a move is that if somebody bought that? 40% move on shares, you guys. 40%. That's an ugly chart. I'm not going to deny that. But again, is that man, if that's a solid company, they lowered guidance on subscription and support revenue by 10%. C-Rev, you should be You should be teaching this class, not me. You're smart. Interesting. Are you a buyer here, Rev? Like shares? Are you a dollar cost buyer here, or do you want to see some selling out, or would that revenue? It's all good to you. Put a stop at 230. Love it. You heard it. Okay, so let's just see. Big buyback. Let's just check the structure here. Again, I know we're late, guys. If you guys got to go, no hard feelings, but I'm gonna run with it because I'm kind of curious about this one. 230. And I'm gonna draw, this is quick charting. Let's just make it 225 for a round number. So again, we're gonna call this like a little demand zone because we're above it, you know. Otherwise I would call this supply, which is like a rejection resistance zone, but we're gonna call this demand for now. So, you know, look left, this is July last year, I think. Is that right? Yes, or 2 years ago. That's last year. So again, maybe you didn't buy the bottom, maybe you buy tomorrow, maybe we buy and we start kind of selling out here. Shit, 2%. Like that's a decent trade buying for me. And if Red has the green light, Rev gives the green light on some shares, a buy. But again, you guys, it's a dollar cost average. It's a start slow, to stick to your plan. You break that demand zone and you can either say, hey, this is a good company, I'm gonna hold through some red, or like you guys buy at 230, you're risking, what was that, 2% to tell you you're wrong, that hey, if we break below and the overall market's weak, you know, we're probably gonna trend down, hit some of these other levels here, 230, 220 zone, or 220, excuse me, zone, not 230, but it's like, find where it is obvious that you're wrong for these share buy-ins, you guys. Damn, 30%. That's badass, man. Good for you, man. All right, man. People are dropping like flies. They're probably hungry. Their kids are screaming. They forgot to pick their kids up from school, from daycare. I'm gonna end this chat, you guys. I appreciate y'all for joining. Hopefully you learned something new, something interesting. If not, you know, sorry I wasted an hour of your time, but hopefully you learned something new. But let's have a good rest of the week. Again, we're in consolidation zone, even though it's a big zone. Don't look for the home runs, you guys. Look for the trend. Use multi-time frame confirmations. Use your daily moving averages, you guys. Find some good trades. Let's close this week out strong, you guys. Be careful on swings. There's data pretty much every week. But with that, I'm going to end the chat, you guys. Have a good night. Later.